And hello and welcome. My name is Martin, and today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the last bit of the lighting. So we've done the outside sodium lamps, we've done the lamps on the outside of the structure, the garden lamps. We've done the indoor lighting, so then that way our lighting looks like that. And then we've also done some lamps here. So since then I've built the banister, which is the railing going across the top of the stairs. I did that with just very just geometries. I made some long, took some squares down, made some long thin ones, and then put them together to create a staircase as such. Now the other thing I had said was that I wasn't very too happy about the way that the light was leaking on the staircase. I thought it looked a little weird. I like it a little bit better now that we see some of the light coming down from the banister, which is creating some interesting shadows. But I still want to, let's see if we can't make that a little bit brighter. Now the other thing with the lighting up here is, again, we look at the lights and they don't have any light themselves, but they're producing a lot of light down there on the floor. So exactly like I showed you with the sodium lamps that we did earlier, we're going to need to put in some of the point lights. So right now you're actually seeing the directional lights that are in there. So if I click on them, you can see the directional light that's hitting the floor. So let's go ahead and add a point light to this. So I'm going to kind of get as close as I can there. And let me slow down a little bit so I don't overshoot it again. All right. So with that one selected, I'm actually going to drop it just a little bit, and that'll give me the room that I need to put in the point light. Let's see where that guy actually showed up. Okay, so just like the sodium light, what we're going to want to do is put this as close as we can to where the light bulb would be for the fixture. So then that way it doesn't create a weird shadow anywhere. Okay. That's pretty close. Let's get this side going. Okay, again, what's happening there is that I've got the grid turned on, so let me turn the grid off. So as I move it, I'm moving it at smaller sections at a time. Okay, because we've got the other light, because we've got the spotlight, I don't want this light to create any shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it and scroll down to its settings. And again, I'm underneath light. I've opened up that bottom one by clicking on the little button there to open it up. And then from there, cast static shadows, cast dynamic shadows, and then that way we don't get the weird stuff on the ceiling. We don't get a weird background lamp look from that. Let's see. Let's zoom out. Maybe too fast. Okay. So now I should have some light on that. Let's make this a little bit brighter. Maybe. Okay, and then let's deal with how big the radius is on this. Since we're going to have a lot of lights in this room, it doesn't need to be super big, and that's probably good enough. Now what that does for us is when we look up, we actually see a light bulb there as opposed to the other ones which look dead. So let me go ahead and push play again, and I'm going to scroll up to the house, and you're going to see where it looks like the light should be there, and we're getting a light inside the fixture. On the other ones, it just looks dead. I don't know how much I like that. Maybe we should use a Rect light there. What do you think? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm gonna move not the spotlight, but the point light. Okay, so that one should be the point light. I'm obviously seeing it as the point, so I'm gonna hit delete. And let's grab this time underneath lights. Let's grab a Rect light. Let's put that somewhere close by. Let's see what happens when we rotate it. Okay, I'm starting to see some of it now. Okay, we're getting some. Let's make this thing kind of small so it's not taking up as much space. I'm going to make this thing, let's say, 3 by 3. Oops. So it's height, let's make that 3. Tab, do blind doors. Okay, so basically I just need to make it small enough to fit where I want it to fit without it sending a whole bunch of light up there. So let's again put that there, make it go flat. Stick that up into the fixture. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Let's see, let's move that more to the center so we have less of the light bulb shadow. That actually looks pretty cool. Alright, so let's do a build on the lights. So we're gonna go up there to build again. So hit lights only. Let's push play. Let's come around the corner and see what that looks like. Okay, interesting. We're not seeing it so much as like a bright light. Maybe. What I'm not really feeling is the rays of light that should be coming down. So let's go back to let's see. I almost feel like I should see more light up on the ceiling. I don't know if that rec light was... It did a good job of lighting this up, but we may have to use all 3. So let's put a point light back up. With the point light, the same thing. I want to make sure that it doesn't cast any shadows because I've already got enough shadows from all the other lights. Okay. And let's line that guy up. Okay, pretty good. Alright, so what I'm getting now is, obviously because this is light that's going in all directions, and I've told it not to cast any shadows, so we're not seeing any shadows from the chandelier. What it's doing is giving me a little bit of bounce back on the ceiling. And let's go and look at that now. So let's push play. Okay. That gives me something more realistic. I feel very, very good with that. So we have the rec light, which is inside, which is illuminating the lamp itself to give it the appearance of the light. The only thing right now is that seems a little bit yellow and the rest of the light is a little white. So I might go in there and kind of correct that a little bit. Let's see if there's a way that we can change the color. Now the other thing may also be, it might just be a reflection of the color that's actually inside. Let's go to unlit. And yeah, you see how that is actually like an orange color. So the fixtures themselves are orange. So in this situation, that's probably what you're going to get. You're going to get kind of like a colored look up there, with the light being a little bit more orange, the light coming down being white, and then the light reflecting on the ceiling also being white. We might go, let's say, into the pin light, and maybe what we could do with the point light, is maybe go and change its color a bit. Let's see if we can select a color. No, not so much. Let's see if that's close to... That's too red. That looks pretty close. I'm looking at the color here. Make it a little bit more orange. Okay, so that feels pretty good. So let's click OK. Let's push play. And let's see what that looks like. We could have also just gone unlit. Alright, so it's not a super bright white. You got a little bit of a tinge in the light itself. Let's see, let's hit unlit. And again, not affecting the floor too much. And I kind of like that. It's soft. It's got a little bit of color in it, like it's picking up some of the color from the lamp itself, but it's primarily still a white color for the lamp. Now the other thing that I want to fix is the way that the floor looks. With a bunch of this, that looks very unnatural with these dark colors that are happening here in the middle. The other thing that I'm also seeing is this kind of hard edge, and as we explored earlier with the lights outside, we can actually change the inside and the outside lights for the direction of the directional lights, or the ones called spots. So to get rid of that harshness, what I probably want to do is make the inner radius smaller, so then that way the outer one spreads out a little bit more. Let's see if we can maybe pull that up and maybe see if we can make it a little bit softer. Nope, not so much that. Let's go ahead and get rid of the other ones since we're going to replace them with the new one. Let me hit delete, 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 delete. Let's grab all three of these. So we're going to need this. We're going to hold shift and click on all three of the other lights. And once we've got that, we're going to hit alt and drag out to create our second light. And I can see a little bit of that orange coming through from the distance of those. And let's see. I sort of like that. It's definitely softer. It feels less harsh than the ones that are next to it. You know what? I'm still not convinced. Let's hit delete. Let's go back here. That's the directional light. Okay, so I'm just changing the focal length, changing how far out the light goes. That's making it softer. It's not quite as harsh. And something like that. Let's make... Alright, so let's see what happens if we copy those now. Okay, so I'm just making sure that I have all three of these things selected before I pull out and make the next one. So again, remember you can grab any of them and then pull that direction out. And I'm doing that by hitting the Alt key, so... Oh yeah, look at that. Look at the difference back there with how hard that lighting is. And look, by spreading the lighting out, we've created a condition where we've got a much softer light. Okay. Now the other thing that I wanted to do, again, like I said, was to kind of lighten up the stairway a little bit. So I'm actually going to make a third row of these. Now all three of them are still selected, so I'm going to click Alt and drag out my third one. Okay, they are all still selected, so I'm going to drag that out quite a bit further, and I'm going to see how that starts to affect the stairs. And that really does soften up the stairs a bit. I mean, there's obviously going to be some shadow because you have the banister and you have the other lights, but I'm not seeing... Let's actually do this. Let's delete that one and delete this one so we can really feel that. And you can see how much softer the lighting is there, right? And you would expect that in a house. You wouldn't expect harsh lighting. Harsh lighting you would maybe see more in an industrial setting, whereas home lighting is going to be definitely a lot softer. Okay, so once those are done, obviously to spread this across the room, we're going to do the same thing that we did with the sodium lamps that were outside. So let's get rid of all of those. Okay, 3 rows. Maybe the only thing I might do is maybe center that a little bit better. So as I'm looking at the room, it looks like there's more of a distance here than there is between those. So I think I'm going to move the center row closer to the middle. So again, we're grabbing the light, we're holding shift, We're grabbing each 3 of the lights plus the fixture. Once those have been selected, let me kind of eyeball that. Let's move back. Okay, very cool. Alright, so once we've got those, we're going to go and select these as well. So we're going to hold Shift, grab one light, grab the next light, grab the next light. Come over here, hold Shift, grab the fixture, the light, the next light. And once I've got them, again, because I've got all 3 of the fixtures plus all of the lights, I can hit Alt and drag out. And I should have made a copy there. It doesn't feel like I did. So we can hold. Did it move? Okay. There we go. So again, I'm holding Alt. Again, I want to make sure that I'm not leaving like any of this, I don't know, I want to leave like a very soft light all over the place. So I'm going to make sure that I don't have any shadows. So I'm going to bring some of this back a little bit. Okay. That looks good. I'm not seeing any noticeable shadows there in the floor. So with that done, let's make the next row over. So again, I'm going to hold Alt, drag out. Just created my next set. Okay, try to keep even spacing between the rows. And again, you're looking for any negative shadows that are being created. Let's create one more of these. So I'm going to hold Alt, click out and drag. And let's see how far down we can go with these to see how much area we can actually light up. Alright, so let's push play. Let's go look. Alright. So that looks about right. It looks like the right amount of light is bouncing off of the ceilings. So that again was with our point light. If we come in here, we see a well-lit floor. We're seeing some shadows from the banister, but we would expect that. We would, with this many lights up, we would expect some type of shadows, even though a lot of them are negative, meaning that they're being negated by other lights that are bending the, making sure that there's not enough shadow on the floor. This kind of darker area here on the sides, closer to the edges, that's fine. That's not bothering me so much. There's light out there. So this actually looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with this. I might change the color of that banister because it blends too much into the floor. But now I look at the stairs. The stairs are softly lit. They don't have any harsh things on them, any harsh shadows. You see kind of shadows moving along the wall. That's okay. That's not bothering me so much. It does feel soft though. So just a little slight darkness on the edge of the stairs there, but not anything to be crazy about. The only place I'm feeling like a dark area or a shadow on the floor is maybe right there. Not anything too harsh that I might think like I might need to go back and do it again. Maybe I could kind of, it just depends on how nitpicky you are. Okay, so now that we've done that, oops, it looks like I need to come here, select all. To basic wall. Okay. And I don't see any other geometries that look like they're not. Okay, very good. So we've lit up the upstairs. We've done soft lighting with ceiling lamps coming down from the ceiling. We've learned how to create a soft edge to the lighting so then that way it doesn't feel harsh. That's still pretty well lit. We might even think about bringing this down a little bit. But in a dance studio, you would expect there to be lots of lights. The only other thing that I might think about putting up here might be a mirror. That might be something cool. All right. So in the next tutorial, what we'll do is we'll talk about this fire. We're going to bring it in as a particle system. We're going to go into the particles. We're not creating a particle system, but we will create a light emitter. So then that way we create that effect like we're seeing there on the wall, of the kind of flickering that you would get with that lighting, as opposed to the interior lighting where you would not expect there to be flickering, right? So the fire is moving. It's something that is dynamic. It keeps changing. So that light needs to reflect that by having first of all the orange tinge and then that kind of flickering that we're seeing off of there. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully that hasn't been too long, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.